Hark! It's an 87th Precinct podcast bonus episode. This is the bonus episode for Book 47, Romance, which is a twisty, turny, self-referential mad thing about the theatre and the very nature of creativity and stabbing people. Or something like that, anyway. We'll do our usual roundup then of book covers in a second and also dig into some stuff from 1995, as we've been doing over these past few months. But I do want to mention two things which I completely forgot to do in the main podcast, and it makes sense to mention them here, though, because it's just a little bit about the publishers. One is that the book Romance in America is in Warner Books. It's the second of three books published by Warner Books, the first one being the Christmas edition, the special edition of the Christmas story in the nice blue slip sleeve. Mm-hmm. And it is put out in paperback in Warner Books as well. In the UK, it is in Hodder and Stoughton, and the paperback is in Coronet. And they come out in, the hardbacks come out in 95, paperbacks in 96. And I know for a fact, rather than use a copyright date for everything we'll discuss today, it was published on the 14th of April, 1995. That was actual publication date, so I know that one, rather than just the copyright date. And I didn't mention the dedication, but if you can't work out the dedication in this book, when it is dedicated to one of his sons, you know, it's not a hard research challenge. This is for my son and daughter-in-law, Mark Hunter and Lisa Bloch-Morange Hunter, or Bloch-Morange. I think she might be French, because I think his son, Mark, lives in France and has done for quite a long while. So, yeah, you can figure that dedication out. I'm sorry I missed it from the main episode. Please do forgive me. Right. But in the meantime, chaps, if you could turn your attention to the pictures that I've sent you, and I'm going to set Morgan the very hard challenge of describing the edition that is both the UK and US hardback cover.
It is a challenge, but yeah, so we've got Ed McBain and Romance in sort of big, shiny silver letters, a novel of the 87th Precinct, and we've got a blue sky background and then some kind of a stylized sort of cityscape in silhouette.
Yeah.
And that's the size of it, really.
Yeah, well, I find it's pretty uninspiring.
I mean, I think it's quite pleasant, but...
What about that one red window?
Red window, yeah, I was just noticing that.
Oh, that's it, yeah. Maybe they should have drawn a little man being thrown out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got the embossed shiny silver text, which makes it quite, stand out a little bit, doesn't it?
It's quite decorative, but unspectacular.
Yeah, I think unspectacular is the right word. Okay, well, in that case, I'll describe the American paperback edition because it's exactly the same thing, just stretched because of the different shape of the book.
A different red window as well.
Yeah, they are. I was just looking at that.
Blimey,
they've coloured
right.
a different red window in.
That's
weird, isn't it? Why on earth would you do that?
I don't know.
Oh, gosh, I would have just taken that as granted that was exactly the same, but no, you're right.
Peculiar,
and of course, yeah, being the paperback, it does have a couple of quotes are on it. In this case, it's the Washington Post quote saying, "Simply the best police procedurals being written in the United States." And it's New York Times best-selling author. Otherwise, it is exactly the same, just like I say, stretched and different red window, as we discovered. So perhaps there's more to this than meets the eye. Changing from that, I'll get Stevie to describe the UK edition, which I suspect is the one that we all have.
Yeah, that's
who
the
knows?
one. Yeah, so this is... I don't know what the background is there. What on earth's the background? Like some crumpled gold paper. What's that supposed to be? Don't know.
No idea.
Crumpled gold surface with what looks like a rose stem, and then instead of the rose petals, a splat of blood. And it says Romance in purple writing. It's a bit odd, really.
Yeah, I quite like it as a piece of graphic design, and I understand the idea of like roses for romance.
Yeah.
And I like the design of the blood splat instead of a red rose petals. But flowers at no point feature in this book. So
no, yeah. So that's that one. Yeah.
I would have thought maybe if it had been like, rather than weird scrumpled gold paper as a backdrop, it would have been like perhaps a script, okay, some manuscript or something.
Yes.
That would have made sense. Or maybe that would have just been too busy. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, they're all right, aren't they? We've had worse, we've had better.
Yep.
Yeah, very true.
Well, then I will give Morgan the second challenge of describing the Italian edition, which is a different affair.
Yeah, so the main focus of it, I guess, is this artfully lit full-face shot of a lady with downcast eyes and a single teardrop coursing down her cheek.
Yeah.
Ed McBain romance. A sipario alzato le cose cambieranno. Sorry. I don't know what that means, but yeah.
No, I don't know what it means.
Un caso del 87 distretto.
Yeah.
That's great.
5,900 lira.
Crikey.
Yeah, it's a modern version of these Giallo ones that we've been looking at, which, Giallo means yellow, and it looks like they've sort of put a new design on an old template as if to look like this.
Right, yeah, it's got the little corner of the traditional yellow kind of cover just peeking out around the edge, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think I preferred those ones when they were literally just painting a scene from chapter 2.
Yeah, I love those kind of pulpy paintings. They're great.
Yeah, that's got even less to do with the story. But I'll give Steve-O the challenge of describing the Japanese one I've got.
Yeah, it's very abstract.
Yeah.
There's lots of colours. I'm trying to... Does that say 87?
It does.
Yeah, so like just blocks of colour, really. And then 87 seems to be scratched in. I'm just trying to think whether I can work out any literal... Yeah. I don't think I can.
No, I'm pondering. I like it. I like the last time we looked at a Japanese one. I like it very much as an abstract piece. Yeah, I wonder if it is supposed to be anything.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's intended to be in any way kind of representative of any physical kind of things, does it?
No, I don't think so.
It's nice.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I shall share those as usual on our Instagram and link to it on the Twitter. But it's nice to see these Japanese ones, and I should really go back and look at ones we've done previously and see if I can find them. I definitely haven't been able to find all of them, and that doesn't necessarily. I mean, all of them may not have been published in Japan, but they probably were because he was very popular over there.
Yeah.
And you consider that their TV series was running at the time that this was coming out as well. So. Yeah, I'll post those as usual in the usual places. And now we can get on to a load of rubbish about 1995. And we will start, as usual, with what was going on in the charts on the week of the 14th of April, 1995. Ah, right. Oh, yes, well. Let's do the American top 10. I'll go from 10 till 1. You can fill me in if you know any of these. At number 10. Creep by TLC.
Yep.
Yeah.
Classic.
It's great. And this is the year that TLC, I believe, filed for bankruptcy.
Really?
Yeah. Which I presume is something to do with problems with a manager, which I'm pretty sure they did have, didn't they?
Seems totally plausible, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, huge group at the time. Very good TLC. I do like TLC.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, Creep by TLC. Number 9 is I Know by Dion Farris.
Ooh, doesn't ring a bell.
Nope. Number 8 is Big Popper, Warning by the Notorious B.I.G.
Don't recall that one either.
No. Number 7, Strong Enough by Sheryl Crow.
I feel like that's one I've probably heard, but doesn't ring a bell off the top of my head.
Yeah. Number 6, Freak Like Me by Adina Howard.
Ah, I do know it. I mainly know that from the Sugar Babes record where they sang that over the backing of Our Friends Electric, if you remember that one.
Oh, yes, vaguely.
So it's that song, but without the Gary Newman bit.
Oh, yeah. Right. Number 5 is Runaway by Real McCoy. I don't know that.
No.
Number 4 is Take a Bow by Madonna.
Oh, yes.
Or if you want to read it wrong, Take a Bow by Madonna. Maybe she's offering you a selection of bows from her bow shop.
Yeah, possibly. Is that the one with the video with the Matador in, I think?
I don't know.
I think so. Bit of a soppy ballad.
Number 3 is Candy Rain by Soul for Real. No. Number 2 is TLC again with Red Light Special.
Oh, yeah.
And number 1 is This Is How We Do It by Montel Jordan.
Oh, yeah. It's definitely a sort of the New Jack Swing era in full effect.
Yeah. Right. Well, let's see if it's the same over in the UK, where we would have been studying the charts night and day, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
Or doing what I was doing, which is probably just playing loads of Beatles albums and 2 Blur albums over and over and over again. Right, I'm going to work down from 1 in this time. So number 1 is Take That with Back for Good.
Oh, God.
The all-dominating Take That.
Yeah.
Number 2 is the Out Here Brothers with Don't Stop, brackets, Wiggle Wiggle.
Oh, God. Deary me.
Bobby Brown's at number 3 with Two Can Play That Game.
Yeah.
Which always disappoints me that it isn't Two Can Play That Game.
Yeah.
And he's attempting to do Scrabble with an exotic bird.
Just instructing it to join in. Yeah.
Yeah. Number 4 is You Sure Do by Strike.
Yeah, I remember that one. You sure make me feel like loving you.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah. I get it. Number 5, Corona, Baby Baby.
I don't particularly remember that one. It's funny, I was expecting this to entirely be Britpop, and it turns out it was just lots of terrible Eurodance, wasn't it, mainly?
Yeah. Well, hold tight, because we've got a few more to go yet. Number 6, we've got Not Over Yet by Grace.
It's not over, not over, not over, not over yet. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
It's very helpful you doing this for me. However, I do know this one. Number 7, it is Julia Says by Wet Wet Wet.
Oh, crikey. I'd forgotten about that one.
From their hit album Picture This.
It's, that's them trying to go a little bit Beatlesy, maybe?
Yes, very much so.
Yes.
Enough to make me buy the album, in fact. So, yeah, it's a good pop single, but, it's Wet Wet Wet, so... Number 8 is If You Love Me by Brownstone.
Ooh, no, don't remember that.
At number 9, a new entry, it's Strange Currencies by R.E.M.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
That's good. A bit of
Monster
college indie
album.
rock. Yeah, do like that album. At number 10, it is The Bomb, These Sounds Fall Into My by Bucketheads.
Oh, yeah. These sounds fall into my mind. Yep.
And I will mention at number 11, of course, it's everyone's favourite supergroup of Cher, Chrissie Hynde, and Nena Cherry, I think, with Eric Clapton and Love Can Build a Bridge.
Yeah. Crazy.
The Comic Relief single, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's no The Stunk by Hill and Pace, is it, as these things go?
No, but what is? So anyway, that's what the charts look like there. It's we'll get to our picks for them in a little bit. Okay. Right, Steve-O, what did you go and see in the cinema in 1995?
I don't think I did. Reading that list of stuff before. No, I don't think I did. I can't remember seeing anything in the cinema that was released this year, I'm afraid.
I don't know whether I saw any of this actually in the cinema, but the top 10 here, go on then, name some of them. Can you guess or remember?
GoldenEye.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Which I watched not long ago. It's, it was good to have Bond back, but it's, I don't know. It's all right, isn't it, GoldenEye? It's okay.
Yeah. I half thought of it because it's not that it's a great film, but it's kind of a bit silly, really, isn't it? It was the first kind of Bond released in our lifetimes that we were kind of at an age that one could watch it, I suppose.
Yes, that's true. Anything else we remember from 95, either of you?
Would Clueless be a top 10 film, or...?
It came out in 95, but it would not be a top 10 film.
There was a Batman film. Now, I'm not very good at those, so I couldn't tell you which it was.
Batman Forever. I did see that one in the cinema.
Yeah, I think I possibly saw that one in the cinema as well. So, we've got Die Hard with a Vengeance as the number one top grossing film.
I saw that as well, actually, at the time.
Toy Story.
Oh, yeah, I definitely saw that in the cinema.
Apollo 13.
See, I only saw that for the first time, like a couple of years ago.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
Well, it's a real thing that happened, so you don't have to see a film to know what happens in that.
It's all right.
GoldenEye, Pocahontas. I think I saw that in the cinema as well. I like that one. It had a very novel little raccoon character in it.
Oh, well, there we go.
Yeah. Batman Forever. 7. Oh, I definitely
yeah,
saw
of
that
course.
I saw that in the cinema. Would I have been old enough to? No, probably not.
No. Outrageous.
But which is the scarier film? Is it 7 or is it Casper? Or is it Waterworld?
Oh,
Waterworld.
scary how much money they spent on it. Yeah, I've never seen that. It's quite an expenditure of time as well, isn't it? I think if you want
I
to.
saw about 10 minutes of it once, and it just seemed the biggest load of shite you've ever seen, really.
I've seen the parody of it in an episode of Bob's Burgers, so I think I feel like I've seen it. Yeah. And number 10 highest grossing film was Jumanji.
Oh, yeah.
What else have we got? You mentioned Clueless. I'm not going to run through everything else that came out. I obviously couldn't run through everything else, but things like Tank Girl comes out.
Oh, yeah, Ice-T is some kind of weird kangaroo-type creature.
Yes. Hackers.
Oh, yeah.
Which I know is one of Lorraine's favourite films. It's so dated, though. You know, the subject of like talking about 1% of the population in the UK having the internet, but you've got films like Hackers coming out because it's still so weird and extreme and remote a concept.
I'll tell you what, there was very few of, I noticed looking down the list, was like horror films. So I think that kind of, the 80s, well, I suppose it was 70s, 80s, maybe run out of steam by the mid-90s a bit.
Yeah, it was probably only with things like Scream and stuff that there was a bit of a revival in the genre, yeah.
Yeah,
they're definitely still being made, but there was no high-profile ones really at this point.
No.
You were either so far down the sequel line that nobody cared, or no one had come up with anything original.
Yeah.
The Judge Dredd movie comes out.
Oh, God, the bad Judge Dredd movie. Yeah, that's true.
We've spent a lot of time over the years being cross with that film, haven't we?
Yes,
so,
with good reason.
Yeah, at least the bad taste in the mouth that it leaves is somewhat washed away when they made Dredd 3D, which was good.
Indeed.
Anyway, again, we'll come to our movie picks when we've looked at the rest of this stuff here. So we'll have a quick look at TV. I've only got a few listed here before we do our picks today. So I do wonder if anyone actually ever listens through to these things and has a clue what we're talking about if they don't actually come from the UK. Because what I'm going to say to you, Steve-O, I want your reaction first and foremost, is that on UK TV, we have the debut of Oh, Dr. Beeching.
Right, yeah. I think I've ever seen a nanosecond of that, but wasn't that like a low, like
it was
Heidi High, all that lot?
It was basically pretty much the entire cast of that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But doing a sitcom about the decline of the British railways.
Yeah, was Paul McShane in one of the lead roles, probably.
Yeah. I don't think I watched a single second of it either, and I would watched a lot of Heidi High.
So in the same way that splatter horror had died in 1995, so had those types of
knockabout, old school sitcom, weird setup things. We're in this sort of little period before things like The Office come along, aren't we? Really,
absolutely.
But Kavanagh QC, I've never seen that. Have you ever seen that, Steve-O?
No, that's got what's his face in, hasn't it?
John Thor.
John Thor, yeah. I might have seen it a bit and just thought this is really boring.
Yeah, we love John Thor as Morse. Not so keen on him as a judge.
Yeah.
Or whatever a Queen's Counsel is, a solicitor, lawyer, whatever you call them.
Barrister.
See, I know all the technical terms. I know them all. We have the comedy The Thin Blue Line, however, that comes out.
Oh, blimey.
If anyone wants police procedural comedy, but it's not got any police procedure in, it's just got...
All comedy.
Yeah. So, Rowan Atkinson, best known around the world as Mr. Bean, playing a slightly uptight policeman, while some other strange people are policemen around him, policemen and women around him.
Yeah, I can't say. I might have seen a bit of it. I don't know.
I feel like I probably watched the first episode with a fair amount of anticipation because it was like, Rowan Atkinson and Ben Elton together again. It's going to be just like Blackadder. It wasn't just like Blackadder.
No.
It's funny, isn't it, how Ben Elton's career just literally fell off a cliff, didn't it? in terms of good output, a load of rubbish thereafter.
Yeah, it changed quite a lot. For anyone who doesn't know Ben Elton, he's a very, very good sitcom writer. He was a sort of alternative stand-up comedian, very, very left-wing, and sort of to the point where it was very easy to parody him, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, a good writer of one of the writers of Blackadder, which was very, very, very good. And then it's diminishing returns, really, from here on in. But we also have Fist of Fun appears in 1995. Which is the comedians Stuart Lee and Richard Herring doing a very, very silly, puerile student sort of thing, but very, very funny. So I love that. And the last one I'm going to mention is the Beatles Anthology, comes out in 1995.
Tremendous.
Which obviously I watched, taped off TV, watched again, and carried on watching. But what have we got in America? I hear some Americans screaming at me. Well, we've got things like the Outer Limits comes back. That's revived. So I remember watching that when it came over here.
Oh, yeah.
The new Outer Limits. We have Star Trek Voyager, which is better than Star Trek Deep Space Nine, in my opinion. Come at me, bro. Helmed by Kate Mulgrew, who, of course, played Mrs. Columbo in the TV series Mrs. Columbo.
Oh, I watched a great Columbo last night, actually.
Oh, which one?
It was the one with John Cassavetes in, where he plays the conductor.
The conductor with very
it's all
high
about
trousers.
The flower.
Oh, no, he doesn't have the high trousers. It's Billy Connolly, and his one has the high trousers.
Yeah, so this is all about the flower underneath the piano. Anyway, I caused us to get distracted.
No, I saw a bit of a Columbo earlier in the afternoon yesterday, which was the one that had both Patrick Macnee and Robert Vaughan in, and it's set on the cruise ship.
Ah, right. Oh, yeah, Mrs. Columbo's ill, isn't she?
Yes. What else have I got written down here? The cartoon of Earthworm Jim, a computer game that became a cartoon and had a good theme tune. And a very good sketch show called Mr. Show with Bob and David.
Oh, cool.
Which I never saw at the time, but have seen since. It more or less stands up. There's a bit of like, oh, you would not do that now, and why didn't you just cast someone who was Chinese to play that role about it? But we obviously know Bob Odenkirk and David Cross, are very, very good, especially Bob Odenkirk's career these days is huge. And I've written one more thing down, which I've no idea about. I don't know anything about it, but I just thought it was funny that there's a cartoon just called Skeleton Warriors. So make it up in your head.
Yeah, it writes itself, really, doesn't it?
Yeah. I don't know if it's funny or scary or whatever. If you watch Skeleton Warriors, do write in and tell us. Okay. Or don't. Seek help. Okay, let's get to our picks then. I'm going to come at Steve-O first. What have you got for us this 1995?
Well, for me, I'm not very good at picking movies from the mid-90s, which seems a bit mad given how old I was then, but a clear sign that I, A, didn't go to the cinema, and B, had no means of really watching them in my house, really.
Yeah.
Unless you could manage to get something recorded, you see, it was just all a bit complicated, really, wasn't it? So I wasn't really sure what to go with, really. So I'm going for a film that I've probably not watched in about 15 years, but I remember liking very much, and that's Mallrats.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Cool.
So Kevin Smith, yeah, but
that's very 1995.
Yeah,
really
it is not a million miles away from Dazed and Confused in, and another entirely plotless, real-time, couple of a day in America kind of movie.
Yeah.
A film that I did actually like, and I watched again. I don't know if you've ever seen it, which is Things to Do in Denver When You're Dead.
I've never seen that, actually. I've heard good things, though.
No, neither have I.
Yeah, it's quite interesting, and I just clicked on it before just to have a bit of a nosy about it, and apparently it was a massive box office bomb that virtually made no money despite having a fairly hefty budget. Engaging nonetheless, I thought, yeah. So, and do you want my musical ones as well?
Mallrats is a good pick. Yeah, go for your music.
Well, music as well. I thought 1995 looked like an absolute excellent year to me, in that lots of old bands releasing well past their prime albums, but then got bands like Fu Manchu and and monster magnets starting to churn stuff out, so you can kind of tell what's happening. But two albums that I very much like, and I couldn't really decide between them, so I'm going to suggest them both. One of which is Mirrorball by Neil Young, which I've always had a great love of, and being quite a fan of Pearl Jam of that era as well, kind of gets that in as well. But the other one would be Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness by the Smashing Pumpkins, which is a bit of a pompous, overblown prog rock. It must be grunge's prog album, that, I suppose, isn't it? It's all a bit OTT, but brilliant as a result of it, I think. Always very much like that.
Yeah, there's a bit of high concept creeping in those things, isn't there?
Yeah, and it kind of works. They just about pull it off, I think, in the whole. But I think it's actually brilliant. But they get away with it just about, I think.
Fabulous. Okay, well then I'll come to Morgan for his choices.
Well, film-wise, there were a few things I was considering, but I think I'm going to go for The Quick and the Dead. Sam Raimi's Western.
Yes, I've never seen it.
No, neither have I.
It's one of these things that used to crop up on telly quite a lot. I think it was, again, like a bit of a bomb at the time and not particularly well received at all, but I've always really enjoyed it. Very much a kind of throwback to the sort of Sergio Leone kind of spaghetti westerns, but with a bit of a kind of Sam Raimi kind of touch. There's all the sort of Evil Dead style kind of over the top visual and sort of soundtrack things going on. Sharon Stone as a nameless gunslinger who enters this quick draw competition to get vengeance. It's great fun, totally ridiculous.
Is Bruce Campbell in it?
He's definitely in there some way. I don't think Sam Raimi lets a film go by without him cropping up somewhere, does he?
No, not at all.
I'm just seeing Gene Hackman as well, who I don't think's ever been in anything rubbish.
Yeah, Gene Hackman's always good value for money. Leonardo DiCaprio turns in a good little performance as well. It's really good fun. I don't know why it was kind of not well received at the time. I really enjoy it.
Well, I'll keep an eye out for that. That sounds like a good recommendation.
Worth a go. And music-wise, I did consider going for Mirrorball as well, so I'm glad I didn't, because I did wonder if Steve was going to go for it. What I opted for, I know you picked the same bands not long since, Paul, but I am going for Red Medicine by Fugazi.
Oh, yes.
Just because it was the first of their records that I got. I'd read about them in The Enemy and thought it sounded really exciting. Didn't know who they were at all at the time. And when I bought it from Pink Panther Records in Carlisle, when Carlisle still had a new record shop. And it's amazing.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
And that kind of opened the door then to all the kind of things on Discord records that had gone before, all that kind of classic Washington DC kind of hardcore and post-hardcore. So it was a very exciting time.
Yeah. No, it's a great album. Oh, good old Fugazi. Brilliant. Excellent stuff. Right, well, I've got to choose my choices. And I say that because I haven't firmly decided which ones to pick yet. So I'm looking at my list. I mean, you mentioned Clueless before as a film, which is absolutely brilliant. I do love Clueless, and I can go back to that time and time again. But what I'll probably choose is 12 Monkeys.
I thought you might.
Yeah, comes out in 1995, Terry Gilliam film. Absolutely terrifying, very strange. Some amazing performances from people that you would otherwise perhaps not expect to get those sorts of performances from. It's got a lot of the Gilliam touches that I like. It's brilliant, 12 Monkeys, and I've not watched it for years, and I must make an effort to... do you know what? I don't think I've got it on DVD. I think I've only got it on VHS. So I might have to buy the DVD of it or see if it's come out on Blu-ray or something. Yeah, 12 Monkeys for me. That's the one. I'm settling on that.
Fantastic.
Excellent.
And as for a record, well, there is quite a few good things this year. So, I mean, things I've got written down, Different Class by Pulp. I really liked that at the time. The first Sleater-Kinney album.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's good, but it's not my favourite Sleater-Kinney, so...
Yeah, I was saving the Kinney for a little bit later on.
Yeah. Grand Prix by Teenage Fan Club.
Oh, yeah. That's a corker.
But, I don't know. I mean, I've got to be true to myself here. So I'm reflecting 1995, Paul, here, in that Blur's The Great Escape was a big significant album for me because it was my way into Blur. I sort of started there and worked backwards. You see what I mean? So whilst a lot of people are down on The Great Escape because it has got, a bit of jaunty knees up madness about it with country house and stuff. I think it's a really good record.
It's got some great stuff on, definitely.
Yeah. Some great guitar playing in there as well. You have to perhaps listen out for it. It disguises a lot of weirdness in there, I think. So even like the chords to something like Stereotype, which are quite simple to get hold of once you figure them out, but still really good, gnarly chords.
Yeah.
Coming out of that tradition of a lot of that American rock sound that Graham Coxon likes. So I've got to settle on The Great Escape by Blur as my one for 1995. If that's all right with you, everybody.
It's a good one.
That's quite all right.
Yeah. So anyway, there we are. That's a little bit of 1995. So when we come back, the next episode will be set in 1997, like we're dressing in costume, which means we'll skip 96. So we'll have to do a little bit of allow ourselves to peep at 1996 as well as we go towards our choices for the next episode, which hopefully we can do in person.
Oh, wouldn't that be great?
We might be able to bring it in and show each other our items. Yeah, fantastic. Okay, so that's it for our bonus podcast for romance.
Oh, hold on, we've not done book huffing.
Oh my God,
We
Steve.
haven't looked at our copies, have we? No, that's true.
Oh, my brain. This is why we need to be doing it in person, you see. I can't do the planning like this.
Mine's got a nice perfume to it. And it is it's the UK one with the rose on it.
Yeah, Coronet edition.
Yeah, $5.99 it was.
Mine's $5.99 as well, exactly the same. So what's yours, Morgan? Is yours
mine's a US hardback.
Oof.
What?
Oh.
You brought that out at the last minute to shock us.
There we go. US hardback, $22.95.
What an end to this episode.
$27.95 in Canada.
What an end. I can't believe.
Twist ending.
I know, yeah.
With its little red, so it's got the red window at the back of the street scene.
Yes, indeed it has, yeah.
All right, go on, give us a huff.
Yeah, let's give it a go.
Mine had a nice perfume to it. It was a...
Mine's got a gentle mustiness. It doesn't smell kind of mildewy. It's just a nice kind of pleasantly aged. It's nicely matured.
I wonder whether hardbacks on the whole smell differently. Maybe the paper quality of us is slightly better, is it? I don't know.
Yeah, you could be right.
The binding, the glue a bit more.
Well, paperbacks by their very nature are cheaper to make, aren't they?
They are, yeah.
So, but my one's in fairly good nick. There's a little bit of a mysterious stain on the side, which I don't want to speculate on. Let me just check its smell.
Mine's been read a lot. Lots of lines down the spine.
Oh yeah, mine's a little bit creased. Not too bad. Mine smells all right. Mine's standard good. Standard good on the old
good. I like that.
Oh, well, thank goodness you reminded me, Steve-O, and thank you, Morgan, for whipping out that shock American edition. It wasn't expecting.
Well, I think the book huffing's the only concept I've ever brought to this series of podcasts, and therefore I'm determined it's not jettisoned before the end.
No. Well, we'd get letters. We'd get letters if it wasn't anything else. But, the book huffing has to stay. Right. Well, on that bombshell, as they say, I am going to say goodbye, as is Steve-O.
Goodbye.
And Morgan.
Fare thee well.